Today, we're going to be talking about the protests going on right now in the Philippines. I've talked about the Philippines in the past. So, if you want to check out the original video and that playlist to the other Philippine topics that we talk about, it's linked in the description below. Without further ado, let's jump right into it. And again, if you like the commentaries and discussions we do here on my channel, consider subscribing. Let's go.
Protesters have clashed with police in the Philippines' capital, Manila, with thousands gathering for rallies against corruption. Several demonstrators were arrested for burning tires.
One Piece flag. We just talked about that on the channel. If you're watching this, it would be the day before. So, yesterday.
And throwing stones at police who formed a blockade around the presidential palace. Public disquiet has been growing over government corruption, and last week, 2 senators were implicated in the mishandling of billions of dollars in government-funded flood control projects. Parts of the Philippines were heavily flooded during this year's monsoon season, despite $14 billion going to flood mitigation efforts since 2022. The nation's president, Fernando Marcos Jr.
Which is the question is, I think this is one of those things where, because I if you don't know, I've been talking about the Philippines before on this channel, but we never really talked about the government or the politics of things. But I have been following this story just a little bit, because I have a lot of Filipino friends, and what's very clear and evident with this case, is that there's some level of corruption when the money didn't get to the place that it needed to go. And how extensive that corruption is, I don't think I'm informed enough to know for sure, but I think as an outsider who knows just enough information and I'm looking at the situation, I can say this is it's kind of not surprising. Does that make sense? Like it's, and I'm trying to be fair here, and I guess what I'm trying to say is, if someone is looking on the outside and looking in and they're trying to understand whether or not this is justified, I actually think there's a level of justification to this, because there's just such a big discrepancy, a big gap between the money that was spent and the money that actually got there. And it's one of those things where, like, somebody has to answer for it, in my opinion, right? But I think this is a great place for, let me know in the comments. I ask a lot of questions on this channel. You guys know this because I'm not perfect, nor do I know everything. And the way I learn things is through you guys, because you guys live there and you have the ability to see things that I can't. So is the public, and so my big question for this video is the public sentiment, is everyone really feel um that they're on the same page with how to proceed forward, and even get some accountability, right? And I think this is part of um why I think I like learning so much, because I don't even know how you would approach this. Like, you could protest, but what are the demands? Like, what do you just get the lawmakers and those lawmakers to go to jail? Like, what do you really do to solve this problem? Because that's a lot of money, if that is accurate, right? So um and if I'm correct, there's also some lives that were lost. So it's, I just feel like it's crazy. Again, we've had this happen, a similar situation like this in America with Hurricane Katrina. We were supposed to build um flood retaining walls. Um for some reason or something or other, their project was so like, not that they didn't have the money. They had the money, but they were procrastinating building it until like the last second. So some of it worked and some of it didn't. And I just, it makes me wonder, like, how common this is really around the world.
Says while he supports the public's right to express their outrage, protesters need to remain civil.
Make them answerable for the wrongdoings that they have done.
You let them know your sentiments. You let them know how they hurt you, how they stole from you. Yell at them and do everything, like demonstrate. Just keep it peaceful.
And there is, I want to be fair here. So from what I've seen, there is peaceful protests. So what we're seeing in this video, I feel like, I don't know what the percentage is between peaceful and non-peaceful, But for the most part, what I've seen, it's actually fairly peaceful. And like, even if we want to be technical, right? Let's look at this footage here, right? If we want to really be fair, and again, I've always tried to be fair as much as I can with the information that I have available to me. If I'm looking at this, if I'm being just fair, like let me see if I can move my camera so we can get a better view of what I'm looking at. So if you look up here, right?
Project.
Look at my mouse right here. If you there's really not that many people like being aggressive. Um so it in the grand if I look at the population of the Philippines, right? And from the footage I've seen that is peaceful and I compare it to this, I'm really not thinking it's that crazy, but I could be wrong, right? I could be wrong. You guys could be like, "No, it's actually much bigger than this and it's just this is just a specific area." But I mean, it's clear that there is people that are, aggressive, but like this is not that many people. There really isn't that many people. So I just hope that it's not these guys aren't really ruining it. I hope that they're not ruining it for everybody because that would be really the heartbreaking thing. Because if there's something that we learned with the Indonesian protests and the Nepal protests is that you can't you gotta if you can't control your movement, it could really spiral out of control, right? Because like if we looked at the Nepal protests, right? You had Nepalese, if I'm saying it correctly, right? You had people in Nepal like actually checking on each other and making sure they weren't violent, right? And stopping each other from being agitators. Um, and then the same thing in Indonesia. So I wonder if maybe there needs to be more of that here, but even then, it still just doesn't look like that many people. So let me know in the comments what you guys think. It could be worse, but I don't know.
from you. Yell at them and do everything, like demonstrate. Just keep it peaceful.
Okay, interesting. Um, I I want to get back. I'm putting this part in here, so we're going to be talking about this because we've talked about a lot of Southeast Asia right now, and um, I just think it's important to talk about the good and the bad in the world, at least a little bit, not too much. But I do want to eventually get back to talking about cultures, food, and kind of the more positive things, if that makes sense. So I will. I guess I'm putting this here just to let you guys know. Um, I do want to get back to like talking about holidays and tourist spots because that's always been my drive. But I will keep covering news because you guys are very interested. Um, I didn't want to make a separate video kind of addressing that, but yeah, let me know what you think. And if you're in the Philippines, please, please, please be safe. Like I say in all my videos, when we talk about news like this, and I mean it, I genuinely mean it. Like if you're out there, please, please be safe, um, regardless of how you feel. And my heart goes out to anybody affected. And you guys, please be safe because I love you guys. I'll check you on the next one. Bye bye. This video is brought to you actually by viewers like you. Thank you so much for subscribing and being part of my journey and allowing me to be a part of yours. Let's create new memories this 2025 on our road to 1 million subscribers. And with all that jazz out of the way, I just want to say thank you so much. I love y'all and enjoy the video.